It's Monday, April 20th, 2020. An absolutely historical day today as we witness oil collapse. And I don't mean a small collapse. Oil collapsed 305%. It's the first time oil prices ever went to zero. The first time oil prices went negative. Negative $37.63 a barrel. That is a 305% haircut. And as I'm watching Fox Business, as I'm watching CNBC, it didn't really seem to be an emergency. Nobody really seemed too concerned about it. Article that just came out a couple hours ago on CNBC right here. This oil price crash isn't as bad as it seems. And I mean, leave it to CNBC and leave it to these analysts who are completely endorsed by corporate America, by the oil companies, by the central banks, promoting and selling you whatever they can. And this is just a pipe dream right here. Oil price crash isn't as bad as it seems. Anything that crashes 305% is pure devastation. When oil producers are paying buyers to just take the oil, there's some concern. And I want to talk about some of the concerns here. Today, most people do not realize that their life has changed. Your friends, your life, my life, everybody in between, everybody quite literally on this planet, their lives have changed today because although most people are still in their bubbles, most people are comatose, have no idea what's going on, we just saw oil collapse and it's going to have huge ramifications on everybody. We're going to see massive money printing unlike we have ever seen before. Not that we haven't already had enough of it, but more is coming now because of what's happened in the oil industry. When you look at countries, especially countries who produce oil, imagine the type of losses that they took today. Just imagine how much income vanished from many of these countries that produce oil. Take for example, Russia. How much money do you think Russia lost today with these massive, this massive hemorrhaging of oil prices today? Producers were paying buyers to buy the oil. A producer was paying 80 cents a gallon for a buyer to just take oil. That's $40 a barrel. They were paying the buyer to take their oil and get rid of it because they have no place to put it. We know that the U.S. is the largest producer of oil. And when you look at the industry, the oil industry here in America, imagine the trillions of dollars we are now going to have to print to bail out the oil industry here. Let's talk a little bit about what's been happening in the U.S. oil industry. We cut oil production by about 800,000 barrels in the last 2 weeks. Shale and fracking, there were hundreds of shale and fracking companies last year that filed bankruptcy, went out of business. Imagine what this is going to do right now. Imagine the amount of bankruptcies. I mean, I think they have to have about $40, $50 oil prices to break even. We're now negative. And the last I checked, we are negative about $12.50 on oil prices. Negative, not up $12.50. We are down negative $12.50. No one is driving. No one's flying. Nobody's jumping on a ship. The cruise ships are sitting. Freight in America, since people aren't buying as much, since people aren't working as much, the trucks, the railroads, barge, airplanes, they're not moving, so less oil is needed. The economy is still frozen, and even when they get this economy reopening, it's still going to be frozen because when you look at the stipulations and these laws and rules that they're going to implement when things reopen, it's going to be very, very hard for business to actually do business. So we're going to be heading into some really rough times here. When we look at the ramifications and the consequences of what happened today with oil prices, look at how many towns rely and are dependent on the oil industry. You look at like the ports. We have the ports right here in Los Angeles, the refineries, the pipelines, the drillers. Imagine, again, all the shale and fracking in Texas and other states throughout the country that are involved in the oil industry, many people are going to lose their jobs. This is an industry that's going to require massive amounts of bailouts. And again, the government, the Fed, is going to have to pump trillions of dollars into the oil industry to keep it alive. You know, we're at a time now where nobody knows what's coming. You know, a lot of people believe, including myself, we're going to see hyperinflation. I do believe we will see deflation. It is almost a time where it's so unpredictable that I see hyperinflation coming in some areas. I see deflation coming in other areas. It's almost like it's day to day of what's going to happen. Nobody can predict if inflation's coming, if deflation is coming. But I do know one thing. The prices of food continue to go up. The price of healthcare continues to go up. The cost of living continues to go up. The cost of education continues to go up. But I do think we're going to see prices in some areas going down. I think real estate prices are going to get hammered. I think we're going to see prices come down. But a loaf of bread is going to continue to get more expensive. A pork chop, more expensive. Chicken, steak is going to get more expensive. Your healthcare is going to get more expensive. So it's a really confusing time where prices are going up in some areas and prices are going to come down in other areas. But I read an article with Egan von Greers, and he believes hyperinflation is no doubt coming. And I'm gonna paraphrase through this article a little bit. And when you look at it this way, it really seems unavoidable that hyperinflation is coming to America. He says that a debt crisis of historical magnitude is coming. Soon we will see debt around the world come under enormous pressure as borrowers start defaulting. We're seeing that right now. This will lead to bonds crashing and rates surging. Central banks will lose control of interest rates as long rates first go up and soon pulling the shorter rates up. Rates can easily go up 15 to 20%. Many bonds will go to zero and rates to infinity. Since the majority of the $1.5 quadrillion derivatives market is interest related, this market will also blow up. All this will lead to unlimited money printing. You know, everything we're talking about, the stimulus packages, now oil, the repo market, the stock market, everything is money printing, quantitative easing, everything now is reliant on the central banks, the Federal Reserve, to print money to continue to keep this corpse on life support. Again, all this will lead to unlimited money printing and currencies crashing fast. And all this can happen very quickly. You know, when I woke up this morning, first off, last night I did see oil prices around $15, and I was like, wow, I think they were down around 8% last night, and I was like, wow, this is very interesting. This morning my phone was going off as we were around $10 and heading into single digits, and it just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. I thought something was wrong with my phone. Like, how can oil really be at 66 cents a barrel, 10 cents a barrel, negative? I mean, it's unbelievable what we're watching take place. You know, again, the winds of this economy are changing from deflation to hyperinflation, and nobody really knows. Maybe it's going to be a combination of both. Maybe it will be one, maybe it will be the other. It's above my pay grade. But again, we are seeing things that no one has ever seen before. But one thing is certain, there is going to be massive money printing. It's happening right now. It's about to go on steroids. And we know from history that when you print everything out of a fiat currency, sooner or later, you get to Zimbabwe, you get to Venezuela. Again, there are going to be less goods, less services, with lots of dollars chasing after these goods and services. Now, look, I don't sit here to pretend to have a crystal ball or all the answers. One thing is certain, we are going to print the US dollar to the moon, period. Does that mean we're going to get hyperinflation? I believe there's a very good chance. Are we going to see an economic collapse here in America? It's already begun. One thing for sure heading into all of this is I do believe you need to be holding gold and silver. I believe that this is going to be very good for gold. It's going to be very good for silver. I believe it's going to be very bad for the US dollar. I believe the US dollar is going to come under extreme pressure because we're printing the US dollar to death. And again, we have never been here. We've never been to this place ever. Dow Jones down 592 points today. And you got to think, with the oil industry crashing, how could the Dow Jones be down only 592 points? 22 plus million people lost their jobs in the last 4 weeks. We're going to get the new numbers this Thursday. They're going to be horrific. Yet Dow Jones down only 592 points today. You know, we know why it was only down 592 points. Just think, if the Fed wasn't buying everything right now, including junk bonds, where would the Dow be right now if the Fed wasn't buying stocks, wasn't buying junk bonds, wasn't pumping billions into the repo market, didn't have interest rates at zero? If all this manipulation was not in the markets right now, where do you think the Dow Jones would be today? I can tell you right now, it would be down a lot more than 592 points. As we continue to go into this collapse, some more frightening news. Congress still has no help for small business. They're trying to pass some more stimulus. It's been held up. So, you know, it just seems like every day that goes by, that small business in America is frozen. It's just killing these small businesses, these mom and pop businesses off, these restaurants. They're just dying off daily now at this point. Every day that goes by, I'm sure that there are many of these businesses that are just disappearing. They're expecting restaurants to lose $240 billion this year. When they do reopen this economy to some extent, just think how small business and restaurants are going to have to function. I was watching an interview with a restaurant owner today, and he was basically saying that they're going to have to model their restaurants a different way, that they're going to have to take out a lot of tables and chairs because they have to space the tables and chairs apart. And so, you know, if you have 20 tables in your restaurant, now you may have 10. And that means 50% of your income has vanished. So it's going to be very, very difficult, even when things reopen, especially for restaurants, how they're going to function in this new system where they're only going to be allowed a certain amount of patrons in their business. Las Vegas, I was reading something yesterday. They're talking about possibly reopening around Memorial Day. But dealers will be wearing masks. You're going to have the 6-foot rule. I don't know if customers and gamblers are going to be wearing masks, what the requirements are going to be. But I don't know how you're going to run a casino with everybody wearing a mask, with your dealers wearing a mask, people being 6 feet apart. I don't understand how they're going to be able to run their business with these kind of rules, these kind of regulations. I don't think anybody's going to really go. I think the numbers for Vegas are going to be they're going to be horrible. Who's going to go to Vegas if they have to wear a mask? If your bartender's wearing a mask, your dealer's wearing a mask, everybody's wearing a mask, and you're supposed to be 6 feet away from everybody. I think it's going to be a very hard time in Las Vegas when it reopens. And these reopenings aren't even reopenings. They're going to be so limited. It's going to be really critical for these kind of businesses if they cannot open up 100%. Right now, businesses are hemorrhaging massive amounts of cash, and so are individuals. Bills right now, as you know, are not getting paid. Rents, mortgages, taxes. Right now, I read an estimate that GDP is expected to fall 40 to 50% in the second quarter of 2020. This was a really interesting article I read. I believe this was on, maybe it was Reuters. Title of this: with restaurant industry gutted, Los Angeles sheds another 1.3 million jobs. This was on the Blaze. I read this morning. And you know, we have this oil crash that took place today. We have a unemployment crash that's been taking place. Survey: only 45% of workers in Los Angeles have jobs as unemployment spikes. So really concerning times, scary times here in America. And just think now how many people are at home that work in the oil industry who are freaking out right now, panicking what's going to happen with their job. How many of these small fracking and shale companies here in the U.S. May not even be opening tomorrow. I mean, we are talking about a huge industry here that employs a lot of people. It literally employs towns. Towns in America, small towns in America exist because of oil, because of these drillers, these frackers, these pipelines, the refineries. This is unbelievable. This is a real punch into the gut after we just got punched in the face with this economy and these unemployment numbers. We're in very, very big trouble here. Now, I know most people, again, have no idea what I'm talking about. They were out and about today doing whatever they do, or they were working, and they have no idea of what just took place today. Your life is about to change. Everybody's life is about to change. And what's an interesting question, which I don't have the answer to, let me know what you think. You know, we rely on the petrodollar here in America. Our dollar is no longer backed by gold. We know that. Many people claim it's backed by oil, right? In a way, it is. Pretty much every barrel of oil purchased in the world is purchased in U.S. dollars. And what happens when oil becomes worthless? It's beyond worthless right now. They can't even give it away. So is that going to have an effect on the petrodollar? Should we be concerned? If oil is this cheap, what happens to the petrodollar? What happens to the future of the petrodollar? Does it get stronger? Does it get weaker? Is this an opportunity now for countries to trade in different currencies? Is this going to weaken the petrodollar? Does this weaken America? Does it make America stronger? I'd like to know what you think. Where does the petrodollar come into play with this, with these crashing oil prices, with an industry now that is crashing? What's the future of the petrodollar? Does it get stronger? Does it get weaker? I'm going to leave it there today. It's absolutely mind-blowing what is taking place with this economy. Again, Thursday, we will get the new jobless claims and the new jobless numbers. And I believe that, you know, I'm thinking about 3 million to 3.5 million will be the number. It's going to be a lot. So that's going to put us at over 25 million jobless claims at the 5-week mark. Restaurants are collapsing, retail's collapsing, the auto industry is collapsing. Now, the oil industry is collapsing. I've never seen anything collapse 305% in a day. Really concerning times, ladies and gentlemen, because whether you think this is going to affect you or not, I promise you, it is going to affect you. It is going to have severe ramifications on the United States of America and the world. Life is changing. Make sure you continue to prepare the best that you can. I don't think there's ever been a time in at least U.S. history where it is more important to make sure you own some gold, make sure you own some silver. We are heading into very dangerous times, at least financially, right here. And I think that you must protect yourself financially with some gold, with some silver. I'm not giving anybody financial advice, but I can tell you what I'm doing. And with what just happened today, I'm probably going to make another order and purchase some more while I can. I'm going to take some of these worthless fiat currency dollars and I'm going to buy some more real money, gold and silver, because I don't see this getting better. It is getting worse. And we have no idea what's coming next. Remember, we do not know what tomorrow's going to bring. Most of us did not think we were going to wake up to an oil crash of 305% today. Nobody thought that was going to happen, and it just did. Who knows what we wake up to next? God bless every one of you. Share this video. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, make sure that you are getting notified. If you are not, make sure you hit that subscribe button again so that you get the newest video. God bless every one of you. Talk to you very soon.